Next up, we're going to wind a set of Tele pickups. This is for my daughter's guitar. We're going to start with this red bobbin material that I purchased, .093 thick. We're going to cut this out on my saw. I want to cut this out as close as you can to the pickup. These are old pickups that I gutted and using as a template. We're going to then take this to my small parts pin router, and we're going to use a small 16th bit. Keep my fingers away from the edge and from the leading side. That way if it gets caught, you just pick up my finger. And what's nice is this bit only has about 3/8 extension, so I can keep my hands clear and just slowly route this out. So we'll do this on both the neck and the bridge. Lower it, do the same thing. 2 passes real quick, nice and clean. And the trick for these, this was a used pickup that I took apart. It's full of wax, so you got to put a lot more double stick tape on this. So we're going to cover the whole thing, clamp it down. Even though I scraped off all the wax, still got to do that. So we routed that, and then what we do is we take this over to my drill press. We've got a 3/16 size magnets. We're going to go ahead and begin cutting all of this out, drilling all this out. Do the bridge and the neck. Trick is just to go slow, make sure the bit's cleaned out, and then just alternate the different bit sizes. This is then one size smaller for the screws. Do that for the bridge or for the neck. This is 332. And then we're going to go with with 332 for the neck pickup wire connections here. We're going to just sand off the edges, any fuzz or anything. Take it to my sandpaper and just clean it up. Then we're going to pound in the eyelets. Just get them lined up, pound them in with my mallet. This rubberized mallet is great. Really does a wonder with all this. Here I use a punch just to widen it a little bit, and then it's easier to punch in those eyelets. There we go, they're all set. Then we're going to take the tops of the pickups and use this magenta pearl that I used on the outside of the body. And we're going to spray the top of the pickup covers. And I've got an airbrush, and we'll just take this outside and spray them. Put about 4 or 5 coats on, get them nice and covered. Then we'll take this clear to them, Rust-Oleum basic poly clear, just spray it. And then I didn't want to damage the paint, so what I do is I take the pickup with these punches. This is a 3/16 punch that I widened. We're just going to pop the magnets in from the top. Again, this punch works awesome. This mallet really pops these magnets in nicely. These are old Fender Crucible magnets. I purchased them from a company. They're American made. They're .688 in length. These came in rods. They cut them down. I got them magnetized. So we'll load the magnets from the top, and then we'll push them through so I don't actually damage the paint. If I went the other way, I feel like I would tear out some of that paint. So we go from the top down, get them set right, pound them in, and then we'll just come from the top and push those down for the right height so the magnet tops just sit out a little bit. Then we'll get this lined up on the bottom base plate. Essentially just pound it together. And I can use that reamer to enlarge just so it's easier to push in. And again, same process, just pound these in, get them lined up, pound it together, and you're good to go. It's taller, and then the bridge pickup will be fatter. And then the way I oriented the magnets, got one magnet's going north side up, and then the bridge is south. So rewind them the same way, but we'll have different current running through them. They'll cancel out. So then, before I actually start winding the wire, we're going to cover the magnet so we don't get any shorts. Just take this nice tape, wind it in. I'm going to be using 43 gauge single build wire from HMS Wire Company. I like this wire. I feel like I get a really raw sounding single coil pickup. I've used this in a number of different prototypes. I think this will be the wire I use moving forward. It's my winding setup, mount the pickup, and then I put it on a foot controlled sewing machine motor onto the winder so I can move through these a little bit faster. Now what's great about winding it this way is it is totally scatter wound. Got a little bit of tension variation as well, so you get a really unique sounding pickup. And a lot of the research that I've done, inconsistency is definitely a way to get good sounding pickups. So we'll go through, we'll check how the wire's going on, speed this up, wind it back and forth. And scatter wound is essentially going back and forth across the bobbin. Slight variation each time you're being wound. You get a much different, unique tone. So wind the bridge pickup to about 10,000, 10,600. It's got a nice even coil. Then we'll go ahead and do the neck the same way. We'll get that lead wire on here first. I need to use tweezers. I have no dexterity in my hands anymore. So we got the leads all set up. We'll wind a little bit of tape on the outside. I'm not going to pot these. I'm looking for a little bit of a raw sounding tele. So then we'll take the bridge pickup and go through the same process. Put the tape on, wind this up. We're going to do about 9,000 turns on this, 9,500 turns. Evenly wired. We're going to wrap the tape on the outside as well. I've got definitely a unique set of pickups, custom made, American made magnets, American wire. And I've got the pickup lead wire here. This is some Gavitt wire in Massachusetts. We'll bend the wire, put a little curve on it, pull it down into the eyelet, solder it on. This is definitely tricky. Make sure you don't want to grab the copper wire and pull and tug it. I've done that before, and you got to rewind the pickup. So you got to be careful. It's definitely a slow process here to get this in the hole right. At one point, I had purchased 1/16 eyelets, and that was nearly impossible to do. So I've got a nice hot soldering iron, some solder the wires. We'll do the bridge here first. It's going to read at about 8.73 there. And we'll do the same thing for the bridge. It's good to bend these before you put it in. A little bit more flexibility. That way you're not going to trip that wire. Pop these through. Pull them down. And again, go through the same process and solder it. Feed these in. Make sure it looks right. Soldering iron and some solder. Pop it in the hole. So then we'll take this to the ohm meter next, see what this reads out at. About 10.5. So I've got pretty decently balanced pickups here. Take a little bit of tape, cover the magnets for the base plate so it doesn't short out. And this is my daughter's guitar. It's all set, it's complete. These were the custom pickups that I wound. Guitar sounds awesome actually. It plays really nice. You can hear it here in the clips. Got to finish editing this video. I'll post that next. But really happy with these pickups. Really happy with the way this guitar turned out. A couple modifications I need to still do to the guitar, but getting real close. So thanks for watching, guys. Check out my next vid, and see you later.